Yes.
Great, great. Now, we actually have two. One is an ideation phase, and the other one is to develop a new service. My background was originally in fine arts, and I had worked for a decade or more in different aspects of that, audio and video programming, adult instruction, game programming, coding for 10 years. And now I've come back into the visual side of things via what we're calling a metaverse and via avatars. So when the pandemic landed, I created 40 of these worlds. So that being my interest, I think it's an exceptional avenue for people to gather and for communication. And how does that relate to SingularityNET? I think that we can provide services that will help offload some of the requests for time on SingularityNET and deep funding staff, and also help people who are new to the system but not necessarily technically minded to understand what it's all about. And I think doing this directly through avatars and within virtual spaces improves accessibility and also improves the engagement in terms of the emotional feeling and being able to have several senses of information. So, whoops, there we go. Just the title screen, it looks really pretty. With the virtual world, what I do is open up regular polls and discussions to figure out what is a community-led space going to look like. Inspired by the metaverse. There are areas for team leaders, almost like an event hall, so we can use it for gatherings and increase the publicity of what SingularityNET does, because there are so many layers and levels of detail. I've mentioned I created 40 worlds. I was nominated at the Vol Virtual last year for the early version of this room. And this is Hundo's Ruby room. Just quickly showing a few that we can do it and that it's actually done. It's based on Photon multiplayer in this case, but we'll switch to smartphones. You can see lots of areas of interest, lots of color, and lots of entertainment. Okay. And it'll be a way for people to find your projects more easily. Okay, this is it. I'll post the URL later. We have an intermission, 1970 style. And now on to avatar-led onboarding. This one I think is particularly important because it's a way to provide services that'll summarize the web detail that's available, the text that's on the web for your projects, but also create a service to generate tone. So an avatar can summarize, but also have a different personality, and that will be more engaging. And this is particularly important for disabilities because if you can't move very easily, if you can't hear or can't see, these provide options to either speak to an avatar or to navigate a space autonomously. So I'll just zip through these very quickly. Old web is 2D. Things are separated into different pages, difficult to find. The users may be interested in what we're doing, but they're not necessarily engineers. So we want to invite them into the space. They may be dancers, artists, scientists, innovators in other ways. I want to open that up, and that's where my particular specialty is, combining what I've done in media with adult instruction. So avatars, I think, are the answer. And if we do it well, we'll be loved and venerated by the community. So early examples have to do with enhancing the subtle nonverbal communications of avatars. And we've actually created a crypto explainer, which
MetaMask, which is a web browser extension, is one option. For Cardano and Ajax, lets you see Wallet.
We could use personal voice.
See Wallet works in web browsers and on phones. I like to use my iPhone as my crypto wallet.
So it's a little bit funny, but it's a step in the right direction and a hint of what we could create. We would build an API service, a template, and you could reuse this for your own projects. Okay, and there it is. Thank you very much. 4 seconds left.
In my clock, it's 43. So
is it?
Yes.
Oh no.
Well, we have 2 minutes and 40 seconds by my clock for questions. Do we have questions for Kenneth?
Please have questions.
Yes, do.
Okay.
Well, we need that tool now, but I wonder with avatars, who creates them? Is this also generated, or it's like like where can you get these images? Like, can you put animals, and is there other stuff we could like automate the process, or there are like samples of the avatars on there?
That's an excellent question. There are a few approaches to it. Everyone's familiar with Ready Player Me, which takes a photograph and creates a very stylized avatar. In the Hundo room I'd shown you, that does support Ready Player Me. For the avatar who's delivering the crypto information, that's created manually in a software called Real Illusion. There is some scope to capture your own face and then generate it that way, but it's a manual process. So we don't have an avatar generation per se. We do support Ready Player Me. And if you think that a more customized SingularityNET style avatar would be important, that would be interesting to explore too.
Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, Teva, for the question. Good to see you here. We have time for one more question for Kenneth.
Okay, I'll talk briefly about accessibility then. I have a smashed Macintosh, and I tried to reinstall the OS, but I couldn't really see the screen. And what should have taken a half an hour or an hour took me 8 hours to do, even with voice generation and accessibility support on the Mac. And that's how it is on the web. If you have an avatar and or a virtual space you can navigate in, you can say, please take me here, or please show me about remote Earth sensing projects. And then you go there, or the avatar delivers it for you. And we're creating a web app so you can enter in your own information and then see the summary and then see the tone change. The tone change will be especially difficult because ChatGPT can do it. They have a huge database, but we don't. So I'm dedicating most of the time to exploring that and trying to add a valuable new API to the service.
Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, everybody. This
Thank
was
you.
this was the last presentation in the room.